Hello, fishies, and welcome back to another one of our speed paints for our Smash mural. This week we're going to be doing Sonic, which is one of my favorite characters, but for like one of the weirdest reasons. I don't remember exactly if it was Melee or Brawl, where the special brawls or the special matches were a thing, where you could like preset what items and modifications everyone had. But there's this one that we always did with Sonic where you make them really small, really fast, you throw on bunny ears, but you also make them heavy, and so then Sonic just moves around like a really speedy flea. It's quite hilarious. I think that that mode is probably most fun on like moving maps that are extremely inconvenient, because then it's just a matter of how well you can be a flea without dying. Otherwise, it's just really hard to hit each other with any of the moves that Sonic has. I mean, other than the regular B move, which is like a target move and it like pre-targets where you're supposed to go. It's one of those where he turns into a little ball and rolls around. Which, I mean, you can kind of do that with like a few different characters, like Jigglypuff and Yoshi, where you turn into a ball and you go back and forth in circles. And you can kind of take over the stage that way, which is a terrible way to do it. It's kind of a cheap move, but it's a tactic. I think that's probably the move of his that I use the most, but also it's nice if you can get like his rapid punches down. It's like an A move, and if you get it just right, it'll start doing like sequential punches really fast. And that doesn't do a lot of damage by itself, but it adds up. I mean, every character has their different movesets, and some are better than others. I remember when they first announced the Sonic movie, and like they had the really terrible puppet of what Sonic was gonna look like, and it makes me well, not puppet, but CGI Sonic. But anyways, I think it's hilarious that they ended up using that model in the Chip and Dale movie. To keep him alive, but also he was just like he was rough. The actual Sonic movies were pretty good though. I mean, I hadn't watched them until my husband made me watch them with him, because like I didn't have much interest and I had no idea that the terrible first draft of the model was not what they went with. So, I mean, I went into this movie thinking that's what I was gonna get, and I was pleasantly surprised that that's not what we ended up with. I've never actually played any of the, like, Sonic games, though. At least I don't think so. I mean, maybe, like, those simulated, I forget the proper word. Anyways, they poured it onto like a computer, and they were on like a couple Flash sites. Granted, Flash is no longer a thing, which is sad. But I had a lot of fun with it. I mostly just played Mario games though, or terrible RPGs on those Flash game sites. But it was fun. I mean, I don't know a ton about Sonic, but I remember like I think it was like middle school age, and I was on Pinterest, and everyone and their dog had a Sonic OC, and they were like every color of the rainbow, every sort of aesthetic, and I was like, why is everyone so interested in Sonic? I don't get it. But like you'd have every sort of race, every sort of creature, just in the Sonic style. I mean, I personally never made a Sonic OC. I have my own OCs, but never Sonic. But I just remember a lot of the people I talked to would have these Sonic OCs. And like some of them looked really nice, some of them looked really neat, but also at the same time with OCs, sometimes the color schemes are just rough. But it's always fun to see how people express themselves. Pinterest was a fun place. I mean, there were probably several like adopt OC things that were very illegitimate that I vaguely remember were to, you know, get attention. I mean, I did art on Pinterest for a while, and I kind of wish I knew back then that I could actually sell my art instead of just giving it as requests and challenges. But you know, that helped me to be a better artist. So I mean, I appreciate it nowadays because it's what led to my ability to do things like this. I mean, I mostly started with like My Little Pony stuff because then you don't have to deal with hands or feet. But nowadays I'm better at drawing hands and feet than I am at drawing animals. Hence why I draw furries nowadays. But I just enjoy the different creative aspects that people have done, not just with Sonic characters, but I mean, I've also seen some really good cosplays of Sonic characters. Like, my husband showed me this one group of girls that have like these super super cute costumes. I mean, I don't know their channel offhand. I wish I did, and I could maybe we can like put a link or something. But I think my favorite out of those costumes was probably Tails. As of like my favorite character, I don't know, it just depends, because I mean, if we're going based on the movies, I think I like Knuckles the best. He just gives cute himbo energy. He is so oblivious, so dumb, but also he just wants to smash. He wants to be big and strong. I just think it's cute. But if we're going based on like pure aesthetics, I mean, I kind of like Blaze, but you know, it's a purple cat, and purple is my favorite color, and I am also a cat. So, you know, like minds. But I think like of like the fan art I've seen, most people lean towards Rogue, because you know, she's very girl boss, very, you know, sexy. And you know, people appreciate that. I also see, you know, of course, a lot of art of Shadow and Sonic, not necessarily together, but you know, those are other ones that I've seen a lot of art of. I always also find it fun seeing like the human iterations that people do of furry characters, of what they would look like as humans. But I mean, I also like that in the reverse too, of what like human characters would look like as furries. I just think it's fun seeing, you know, all the ways people interpret things like that. I mean, I also, again, I don't know a ton about Sonic, but it was kind of funny when we first moved into our house. This house, it was rough. You're gonna wonder how this ties into Sonic, but we'll get there. So anyways, this house was rough. It was vandalized. Like, our windows were broken, and the backyard was covered in random trash. My husband, he goes through, he's just like cleaning up the yard and under the porch. Like, there were a bunch of random, there were t-shirts, there were bottles, there were cans, there were pots, there was a propane thing, and all sorts of things. But he ends up going he ends up going under the patio, which this patio is a tiny square that has no stairs. It's still pretty sketchy because we haven't gotten the chance to fix it. But he goes under there and he comes back with one of these like big green fake diamond things, and he's like, I found a chaos emerald. And now that decorates our house, one of our many shelves. Like, this house had so many shelves. It still has so many shelves. I don't know, I think whoever was like working on this house when the shelves came up, they were like, I learned how to build a shelf, now I'm gonna put it in every place that can possibly have a shelf. Like, I think the only places that don't have the only place that doesn't have a shelf is like my son's bedroom. Everywhere else has at least one shelf or 4. I guess the bathroom doesn't, but the bathroom was another story. It was real rough. I mean, it was, the entire floor was like rotting out, and you felt like you could probably fall to the basement through that floor with how rough it was. And then like the wall had these really ugly pink tiles, and they were all over the wall, like all the way up, and they were on the back wall too. So like you just had these like gray pink tiles that were probably at least from the 70s or 60s, and they just looked gross. Like, they were the size of coasters halfway up the wall, this beige wall, like the tub was shallow, and you know. So I ended up inviting a friend over who is a contractor, and he helped us like completely gut this bathroom. Like, it was down to the beams and pillars that were originally this bathroom. That's how far we had to take it, because we ended up switching out the bathtub and the toilet and the sink and everything in the bathroom. It went from nothing to a bathroom again in a few days. And my husband learned that he will never be a plumber. But now our bathroom looks pretty cool. It's actually a nice shade of blue. Probably like pretty close to Sonic blue. Anyways, that's my tangent there. I hope you guys really enjoyed my random rants for this. I hope you enjoy these videos, and thank you guys for coming by, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, fishies!